when Germany converted passenger ships into aircraft carriers in World War II. During the last years of World War II, the Germans tried to convert passenger ships to aircraft carriers to win the war. It was 1942. Workers at the shipyard in Bremerhaven were busy working on a secret project for the German Navy. They were removing passenger seats and beds from a passenger ship. What does the German Navy have to do with passenger ships? Well, in the final act of desperation, the German Navy, or Kriegsmarine, was converting passenger ships into aircraft carriers. Lost time? The German Navy was heavily restricted by the Treaty of Versailles when it came to its vessel size. The treaty banned the Germans from building large warships, including battleships and aircraft carriers. When Hitler came to power in 1932, German Navy, he abandoned the Treaty of Versailles. The German Navy was free to build large warships again. The German Navy, or Kriegsmarine, astonished the world when it unveiled the Bismarck and the Tirpitz, two of the world's largest battleships. During the war, the British sank both ships. After the sinking of Bismarck and the successful Japanese carrier attack on Pearl Harbor, German admirals realized the need for aircraft carriers, but it was too late. Hitler had abandoned Germany's only aircraft carrier, Graf Zeppelin. The Luftwaffe had already stopped the support to modify Junkers and Messerschmitt planes for aircraft carrier launch and retrieval. The German Navy now had no time to develop an aircraft carrier from scratch. It tried one of the craziest ideas to convert passenger ships and other vessels to aircraft carriers. Conversion of some passenger ships. The Scharnhorst, the Gneisenau, the Potsdam, and the Europa were the fastest passenger liners in the world in 1930s. The Scharnhorst, the Gneisenau, and the Potsdam made trips between Bremerhaven and Tokyo. During the interwar period, trade boomed across the globe, and sea travel grew with it. When the war broke out, the Scharnhorst was in Japan and could not leave the harbor unless a German naval vessel escorted her back to Germany. However, there were no German naval vessels in the Pacific. The Japanese government was neutral at this point and kept the Scharnhorst in its control. When the waves of war changed, Japan was an ally of Germany. The Japanese government negotiated with the owner of the Scharnhorst and bought the ship with the assurance to pay double the price after the war. The Imperial Japanese Navy renamed her the Shinyo. After the heavy loss of aircraft carriers in the Battle of Midway, Japan desperately needed aircraft carriers. The Imperial Japanese Navy converted the Scharnhorst into a semi-aircraft carrier. They used the Shinyo on escort missions to protect Japanese shipping convoys. The convoys were under heavy attack from US Navy submarines or S-boats. A US submarine torpedoed the Shinyo in the Yellow Sea. The Scharnhorst was probably the only ship used by Germany, Japan, and torpedoed by an American warship. The Gneisenau and the Potsdam were renamed Elbe and Jade and joined the Jade-class aircraft carriers. Work on Jade never started. The Elbe had some of her interior removed, but as the war progressed against Germany, the German Navy halted the work. The Jade was used as a troop ship and struck a mine near Denmark. The Elbe became a barracks ship, and the British captured it and sold it to the government of Pakistan. The Europa was another passenger ship that ran on the transatlantic route between Germany and the USA. After the war started, she was inactive, and soon the Kriegsmarine absorbed her. She, too, was destined to become an aircraft carrier, but the plan didn't materialize. After the war, the USA took her as a war prize. German aircraft carrier I. The French laid down the de Grasse as a cruiser in 1939. After the start of World War II, the French Navy stopped the construction. When Germany occupied France, the German Navy captured the shipyard. In 1942, in the act of desperation, German Navy decided to convert the de Grasse into an auxiliary aircraft carrier. As the shipyard was within the Allied bombing radius, it was bombed twice by Allied bombers. The Germans stopped the work due to the non-availability of labor, raw materials, and the Allied bomb threat. After the war, the French Navy converted de Grasse into an anti-aircraft cruiser. German aircraft carrier 2. The Seydlitz was a heavy cruiser of the German Navy, which was 95% T-complete. Due to the demand for an aircraft carrier, the German Navy stopped its completion and ordered its conversion into an aircraft carrier. She got a new name, Weser. Rework on the ship started in 1943 but was blocked due to the unavailability of raw materials. She was scuttled in Königsberg. The Soviets refloated her and broke her up for scrap.